Hi everyone, Shani from Shani Sweet Creations here. Today I'm going to show you how I prepare a wedding cake tasting for your clients. This should be helpful for some of you home bakers out there who have to prepare a tasting and take it with you and meet your clients at a restaurant or a local park. So I'm going to show you how I get everything prepared and packed so it's a beautiful presentation and it's quick and easy and inexpensive. You don't have to bake every single time you do a tasting. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I do is prepare 5 different flavored cakes. I bake them 8-inch squares. Then I will fill and crumb coat with a vanilla Swiss buttercream. Then I will refrigerate that until it's nice and firm. And then I will cut each cake into 1-inch by 2-inch pieces. And each piece gets wrapped in a piece of saran wrap. So then I will take my seal-a-meal and make a packet, one of each flavor, and these get frozen. And they are very well protected when you freeze them in the seal-a-meal pack. You could also do several layers of Ziploc baggies would probably work just fine too. So then when it's time for a tasting, I will take my pack out of the freezer the night before and put it in my refrigerator, and then in the morning when I wake up I will take this out and put it on the counter and let it come up to room temperature. When it's time to put the tasting together, I will open the pack and take each one out and unwrap. This pack, by the way, is for a 2-person tasting. So each packet that I prepare will be for 2 people. So you unwrap it, and then you cut that piece in half, and then you put it onto your plate. So I've prepared these plates, and they have labels for each flavor, and I will place my cakes onto the spot for its flavor. And be sure to wipe your knife in between each flavor on a damp towel. And then repeat that process for all 5 of your flavors. So you will have a 1-inch by 1-inch piece frosted in a vanilla Swiss buttercream of each flavor. I do a vanilla bean, a lemon, a chocolate, almond poppy seed, and cappuccino, but of course you can do as many as you want and whatever flavors that you want. I usually do these because these are my most popular wedding cake flavors. Okay, so once I get all my cakes plated, the next thing I do is I put a fork in the plate, and then I take another plate and put it over the top. So what this does is it helps protect it in transit so it's not going to get squished. I get these plates from Crate and Barrel. What's nice about them is that they're a little bit deep so that they accommodate the depth of the cake when you put 2 together. So you go ahead and give it a lid, and then you wrap that whole thing in a layer of saran wrap. That holds the plates together, and it protects it and seals it for freshness during transport. So that's ready to go. So then when I arrive for the tasting, all I have to do is unwrap this and set it down in front of the client, and they're ready for their tasting. So the next thing I do is a plate of filling and frostings for them to sample. And let me show you how I do that. Okay, so I have a plate here with quite a few different little dessert cups. And what I've done on each dessert cup is put a little label to tell them what they are sampling. I do 5 different filling flavors and 5 different frosting flavors. So you can usually find little ramekins and then find a nice little plate that they fit on. And I will show you how I put the filling and frosting in them, so it's a beautiful presentation. So again, ahead of time, I have prepared all of my fillings and frostings at the same time as I've prepared my cakes. And then I package them individually so that they're easy. I can just grab one pack. It's enough for a 2-person tasting. So I take that out of the freezer at the same time as I take out the cake. So what I've done here is made small little seal-a-meal pouches with enough of the filling or the frosting in it for that one tasting. This is how I make a pretty presentation. I make sure everything's at room temperature, and I kind of give the buttercream a little mixing here to give it a nice texture. Then you can cut off one little corner, and then take your 1M or your 2D piping tip, and I insert that open corner into the piping tip. And you basically have a little piping bag at this point. You're holding the tip onto the bag, and then you're just going to squirt it right into the proper dish. And make a little buttercream pile there. And that's how it looks. So it's a pretty little presentation. It's enough for them to sample the flavors, and it's very quick and easy. So then I go ahead and fill all the rest of my dishes, and I will show you what I can do after that. So when I'm filling the little dishes with the buttercream, I use a fresh piping tip for each one. It just makes it quicker and easier than running over to the sink and washing your piping tip each time. And if you don't have a seal-a-meal to make these little packets with, you can use like a little snack-sized Ziploc bag or something like that. Makes it easier. The seal-a-meal pouches take a little bit longer to make. I feel like they protect it a little bit more in the freezer, so that's why I like to use those. Okay, so this is what my sample plate looks like when it's done. So it's a very pretty presentation, and it gives them lots of flavors to taste. And then what I do is put little plastic tasting spoons right on the front here, so they have something to sample each flavor with. And by the way, I get these at the dollar store in a pack of 25 for $1, and I do reuse them. I wash and reuse. So just put a nice amount of the spoons on the front here, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap this in the saran wrap as well. So when I get to the tasting, I unwrap this and I set it in the middle of the table so that both the bride and the groom have access to it. Okay, so there's the sample plate ready. And this is one of my favorite things that I have found to make this whole thing so much easier. This is a casserole caddy, I guess. I don't know exactly what it's called. I found it on Amazon. It's for holding casserole dishes when you're going to a potluck or something like that. It has 2 compartments and it's insulated. So you can put ice packs in here if you want, but I don't need to. I'm never transporting for a very great distance in heat or anything. So what I do is put my sample plate in the bottom, and then I put my cake tasters right on top of that. And then I also put in a bottle of sparkling water. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And then in my top spot, I have a pretty hardy little wine glass. I got this at my local store for about $2. So it's pretty thick and sturdy. And then I wrap that in a nice cloth napkin to protect it. And this is also the napkin that I set with the cake tasting plate for the bride and groom to use. So I've got 2 wine glasses in there. And then the top space also holds any of my materials. I always take an iPad to show my portfolio and then my my paperwork, that contracts and all of that go with it. So then that just gets shut in the top. And you're ready to go. You're ready to very quickly and easily take a very nice cake tasting presentation to meet your clients. You have plates, forks, napkins, glasses with a sparkling water. You have all 5 different cake flavors, frosting flavors and filling flavors. You have all your paperwork, your iPad, everything that you need for information, and it is in a beautiful presentation. Okay, I hope that was helpful for some of you home bakers out there. For me, it's a much easier way to deal with my tastings. I can prepare a whole bunch at once ahead of time, and then when it's time to do a tasting, it only takes me 20 minutes to put it together. So I find it a much easier way. If anybody has any questions, feel free to email me, Shani at shanysweetcreations.com, and don't forget to follow me on Facebook and YouTube, Shani Sweet Creations. Okay, everybody, have a sweet day.